Hello and welcome to the first episode of the Boredom Boys. My name is Nate.
My name is Stellan.
You just
Oh,
use your
it's
normal
not.
Ben.
name.
Okay. My name is Ben.
Cool.
No. Yep. And people probably already know who we are. I don't see anybody.
Just say your name.
Josh.
Cool.
Sounds too cool. Almost too cool.
Yeah. Too cool with a quadruple K. Caught myself there. And then like 3 C's and an emoji. Just to get maximum cool, and then you add a little nice crying laughing emoji at the end of all your sentences.
Laughing emoji is probably the coolest thing ever.
Yeah, I
I'd
love
say.
it so much. Like when I see it,
Absolutely.
I get this feeling inside that I just want to.
An orgasm?
Okay, no.
It's like that, but more
yeah.
like I want to
Uh,
hurt someone.
You
So-
want?
You know, it's like that
I
intensity.
I
but
definitely
just like,
know.
So for those
you know?
watching, the subject of this podcast is not about orgasms.
Ben, that is we're
Okay,
off
well-
to a strong start.
Very
Just
strong
so.
start, I'd say. Absolutely. It's
Um,
about very serious conversation, political,
Yeah, we just
yeah. It's like
hard hitting,
hardcore politics. Dude.
hard
true
hitting,
crime,
controversial
Yeah.
crime content.
What has
Like,
my boys
it's-
been doing in the past few days?
Absolutely nothing. Like you
No.
talk to us very often.
My dad took
Well, I
away
mean,
my
you
phone
went to
because I ate bread.
Wisconsin.
Yeah, I went to
yeah,
I
he
went
was
to the
Wisconsin.
land of
P.
their governor got yoinked by a Supreme Court order, so he doesn't have power anymore. Land of Wisconsin. And I talked with my fam broskies. That was cool. I got a really
That
nice
is pretty
panini
cool.
today. I got like a panini, and it was a gelato with a shot of
It's
espresso
absolutely
in it,
fantastic.
and it was
That's-
very, very good. Would
Very
recommend.
sorry, Nate, but I'm gonna have to spoil your fun and say that this is not what this is about. It's about hard-hitting political opinions.
Yeah. Okay. We have to talk about
Being
the hard
I love
expressed.
how we
today.
all have like a very, very similar political mindset, so we get those really nice debates about.
That's
But
absolutely untrue. That's
extreme-
absolutely
So
untrue.
for starters,
We actually disagree on a lot of things.
yeah,
That's
Nate
that
is a
right?
communist. Yeah, Nate is a communist. I'm the
Bro.
Communist.
I'm the
What?
moderate.
Ben,
Nate.
Starting off, Nate,
See,
we said
okay,
that this would be
Ben.
controversial. We're starting off. You already
Okay.
disagreed.
Controversial.
Okay,
See how
Ben,
quickly he
Ben,
proved you wrong?
so you know that is the problem of why we're not progressing as a country, because people write off anyone who likes Bernie as a communist.
Nate, I was
That's
kidding.
not why.
Jesus
That's
Christ.
actually not why the country isn't progressing, because of the person that's in power now. It's not because of how our outlook on another.
I mean, no, that's a big chunk of why Bernie didn't get elected, because he got labeled as
because people didn't agree with
way.
Yeah,
socialism.
people didn't agree
No,
with
Because
no,
people don't agree
because
with socialism.
no, it's because his policies got labeled as very radical, when in
I
actuality
mean, they were fairly
weren't at
radical.
all.
It
They
doesn't
were
matter
fairly
whether or not they
radical
were. They
for
were
at least
radical.
the
They weren't.
economic axis of America.
They weren't that radical.
Maybe
Still,
there's
they're
another-
way more
Raising the
radical
minimum
than-
wage to $15, radical.
That's what I think. That's what Biden's actually trying to do.
Yeah,
as well.
Biden's been saying that for all on his Twitter feed for the past
Yeah,
days.
you know why?
That's why Biden is
Bernie-
actually
because
winning.
Bernie
You know
did it.
why? I told you this the other day. That's why Biden's actually winning. That's why Biden actually won the candidacy. It's because he doesn't offend anybody. He has very, very sensible things that he says, and like
He's willing to accept compromise, dude. Like he compromised with Bernie. He was not originally for the $15 minimum wage, but he did compromise.
No, he didn't
And-
compromise. He said it because he knew it would get him approval, which is a fair strategy. That's perfectly cool.
But he has
Like-
not incorporated a lot
Like
of what
I'm not
Bernie
complete.
says.
I don't think Biden is an awful dude. I mean, like he's not the brightest bulb in the patch, but he can hopefully beat Trump
Yeah,
if
he's
we're
not,
trusting the polls at all. But I mean,
he's not as energetic anymore. I
Bernie
would say that.
just is so cool. I want to give
Bernie
him
is
a
old
hug.
and Jewish. We
Yeah.
don't like Jews here, isn't that
We
right,
don't
Ben?
like- yeah. It's a Jew-free zone, okay?
Yep.
Actually,
Yep.
this chat.
If my last name isn't Goldenstein, which it
And my
isn't,
favorite, our church. We go to the Church of Scientology because
there's a Scientology.
And it's a Scientologist.
I just like you gotta.
Really like the Mission Impossible movies.
Yeah, I love. I don't think I've ever watched a Mission Impossible movie while not being just
Yeah,
like
super like
bone tired.
devastatingly. Yeah,
Because those are movies where you're like,
it's like
over
an
there.
interesting thing to fall asleep to because there's things happening, but like you don't have to look
You
at a
don't. It
plot.
doesn't.
Yeah.
You don't really need to care.
You don't need to care about anything. It's just
Because
big,
like
cool, crazy stunts.
Mission Impossible. Mission Impossible always like sounds and looks like a ripoff of James Bond. Kind of. I mean, it's a
No,
sound.
it's not a ripoff.
It's a completely. It's no. It's a different
Just no.
thing.
A different thing.
They're both
It's-
action movies.
They're just yeah, they're both action movies. I could see them
That
like
would-
in
that
a
would be
more
like
similar
saying-
light.
That would be like saying Poltergeist and It are the same movie
Not
because
really.
they feature
Bond is kind
they
of
feature
similar.
clown themed villains.
Okay.
Okay.
Like it's not. You don't. They're different.
We're very off topic now.
We're
Josh,
off topic.
So you know what's
We're never
dumb?
really on the topic anymore.
Josh, you know what's dumb? Forcing ourselves to focus on one topic, because then our
It's not dumb.
conversations are going to be one not
Yeah.
natural and very like
Functional.
circling,
Yeah, I
non-sided.
Yeah.
And you know what's
I
going to be a
agree.
lot more
I agree.
entertaining to listen to is us
Bunch of-
just talking, and that's going to be
About
much more.
movies.
That's going to be
Yeah,
more
about
fun
stuff.
for
That's
us
true.
and the people listening.
I agree. I agree.
I mean,
I
the,
just
the,
think
the
that we should
latter
explore
doesn't
Okay.
exist,
Okay.
but
political content a bit
Hey,
more. before
political
we-
content is. It's not
yeah,
fun.
but I don't want to pigeonhole ourselves into talking about
No,
things
I'm not.
that
I'm
we're just
super.
mad
I'm super
about.
like with.
I think what Nate is trying to say is that we shouldn't turn up like Rush Limbaugh or whatever.
Yeah.
Like, just talking.
Sure, I agree with what Nate's saying 100%, but I just think that we could expand more before moving on from our previous topic.
That's fair. That's fair.
So, I
Okay.
believe
We might need to take a pause for a second. I heard some maternal murmuring, and we're back.
Yeah,
Ben
we're
Boy
recording.
had to take a little hiatus, but we're back. Let's
we are back
continue
100%.
on
Yes. 3,
the
2,
discussion.
1.
No, that's unnecessary because
Yeah.
That's unnecessary.
Let's just continue because we'll cut it out.
I already
editing.
said it. I feel like we should, and then now go forward.
3, 1.
We're having this-
Woo!
Okay, 3, 2, 1,
One.
and okay, we had like a little stop there.
No, but we
need a
already
little-
did that before because we don't need the 3, 2, 1 because I can edit things.
Oh yeah. But we
So-
Yeah,
took
I
a
know,
little.
but still, it was so we were prepared.
We took a little water
Okay,
break.
now we have to go again.
I'm gonna leave this all in.
We're gonna leave this all in.
Okay,
Yeah.
so
We're
we
just
took a
gonna
little.
see.
For like the
Oh,
5
yeah,
people.
Ben.
Ben, we're done.
Including
We
us.
took a little break. That's been covered 3 times already.
Okay, got
Yeah,
it.
we took a little break.
Little nap.
Now we're back. What are we talking about?
Politics, Coronies.
Let's
Portland.
talk about. Okay,
Jesus, those poor
Portland.
police officers.
Yeah, geez, they just have to beat their sticks. They just have to
Man.
beat their sticks. They just have to keep on beating.
Poor guys. Man, people are
Yeah.
treating the police so badly right about now.
I mean, like,
BLM.
Seriously.
My favorite movement. Blue Lives.
Blue Lives
If you
Matter.
could-
Like seriously,
if
I
you-
don't understand why people have against cops. They're good people. They just
Yeah.
If you couldn't
being
tell,
targeted right now.
yeah,
that was satire.
yeah. This was
Just-
satire. Okay, don't take this
They're
seriously.
good people. We should be nice to them.
Yeah. Okay.
And I just think so. Like honestly, what's up with that? Like
No, my
Yeah.
I have family. So my aunt's family lives in Portland, I didn't. We didn't really hear how we actually didn't really end up. We talked about the protest, but we didn't specifically talk about Portland. Maybe possibly. I think my aunt's family might be on more of a right-leaning, more police sympathetic
your
side.
family's generally liberal, right?
What?
Is your family generally liberal or?
Well,
Okay,
his
so
extended family is like
so my dad's side is liberal, except I mean, my dad's side that's still alive is liberal. I think I had my grandpa or my grandpa's dad was like a Reagan boy or something.
Reagan boy? Oh, okay.
Yeah, but or actually he might have been a Republican but not a Reagan boy because he was like Reagan be dumb and too evil for me. I don't remember, but generally on my dad's side, they're liberal, and I think it was either my grandpa or my grandpa's dad that was like he was a Republican, but he didn't vote for Reagan because he was actively against him. Also, my great grandma had a good take today when we were talking with her, and she was like, I don't see how people because she's been alive. She's 93, so she's been through all sorts of politickeronies, and she can't vote a straight ticket because she's like, I don't get when people just if they don't actually know what's behind a candidate, even if if you're I can't just vote Democrat versus Republican. I have to research type behind it. I have to know the person.
I don't like people who are vote blue no matter who. And vice versa, obviously.
Yeah.
It's a little dumb.
I saw this post the other day, on somebody's Instagram, where it was probably posted on other people's Instagram, so I'm not gonna say one specific person, but I saw this post on somebody's Instagram where they said there were these if you went back in time and the same people lived back in time when there were slaves, and those people were slave owners, I think I know who those people would be. And I know that was kind of a confusing way to put it, but that person that posted that, she was white, straight, Christian male, would have been the slave owner too.
Yeah.
You can't. Yeah.
Yes, because my ancestors 100 years from now are liberal. That means my entire education and way of being brought up in the culture of being a straight white male, most likely in the Midwest or the South in the 1800s, is going to mean I am also very progressive and liberal.
Yeah.
This is an opinion that most people agree with, but there's some people that are kind of offended by it. But guess what? If you lived in a different time and you grew up in that time as the person that would be bigoted, you probably would be the same. If you grew up as a Christian white straight male in Nazi Germany, you probably would have been a Nazi.
That was the compare I was gonna make. If I it's a bit extreme, but if I grew up and was in the Hitler Youth in 1930s Nazi Germany, I would probably be a Nazi. They would be a very slim chance.
You'd probably be mad for Hitler. I mean, that was most of the youth at the time.
Yeah, exactly. Because there is a slight nature versus nurture argument there. Because I see myself as a good person, but I'm guessing all the kids are taught that they're doing the right thing and that they're being good people by being Nazis.
It was 100% nationalism, and it was post World War One.
It's like the 12-year-olds. It's I can't say 12-year-olds. That's ultra condescending, but when kids, very younger kids wear Trump stuff and promote Trump, they just because their I mean, it's still
it's more of a culture. It's more of a culture.
No, it goes the same for us. Even if we were born in most likely, like even just like moderate Republican families or even Trump supporting families, we would probably just like, I mean, maybe not in like as we're getting older, but especially like during the 2016 election, we would probably peddle Trump beliefs just
Yeah.
because our parents were.
That's
Like the people that did vote Trump there, now, like what their parents were.
Mm-hmm.
yeah. But I think that like the moderate Republicans who voted for Trump now are not voting for him again, which is nice.
I think partially why there's such like a partially what's my train of thought? So like partially why a lot of younger like people the Trump voters that are in the demographic that that are like millennials or like 20 or 30 or even like going out of going into college or like going to be seniors in high school. I think partially a why their parents have passed that huge strong amount of like very conservative beliefs onto them is because their parents grew up with the dawn of like conservative media. Because once that one law, it was Dick Cheney, the vice president under
Ronald Reagan
no
repealed the equal like
yeah
police law where you had to
Yeah,
so it allowed ultra
that
politicized
led to the
media.
rise of Rush Limbaugh
And so
and
that's
stuff.
where you got their parents grew up with Rush Limbaugh and the dawn of Fox News, which is like nothing compared. Actually, no, it's comparable to Fox News now, but like because like my grandma also was my great grandma was talking about how like they would have as a family like between because I think I don't know
yeah. So
but between like my great grandma's family and then like it was their family and one other family somehow marriage related. I don't remember how, but like they would have like intense debates about politics. But this was probably in like the 60s, 50s, and they would just be like afterwards they would just like go back to hanging out and being chill because it wasn't like so polarizing. Like it was still like kind of
It was still like
like it was there
so
was still
obviously
an element of like antagonism, but it was nothing compared to
like in the 60s, traditionally the Republicans were the party of opportunity, the Democrats were the party of progress, but then it polarized to
yeah.
Yeah, so the thing that I hate the most in the modern political climate is 100% uneducated people that like think that they're educated or talk like they're educated,
Yeah,
and that
wait, no,
like of
you
course
can
applies
finish. You can
that
finish.
that applies to like most Trump voters,
and
and
That's
and
fair.
like it applies to a lot of a lot of Democrats, and it
Yeah, like,
applies to a lot of like
I mean,
liberals, like a lot of
yeah, no, that's applied to
really
me in a lot of cases, like especially in like later elementary schools. I've gotten a lot better at it, but like I can occasionally catch myself not actually like trying to defend a point that I haven't researched, just like I've heard a snippet of a take
yeah.
instead
That's
of
why
actually like
yeah, because
I
a
now
lot of the
I'm
time,
much better at
I
catching
can't really
myself.
help myself. Yeah.
Yeah, but
I think I
sometimes
have
I just like get by and being like, no, but I want to go against the belief
Yeah,
because I
that's
think
Yeah,
it
like
might be wrong.
a lot of the time
I think I
I
had like
try to like stop myself, but uh I still sometimes keep talking as if I know what I'm talking about, and that's like
Yeah,
why I'm trying to
yeah, because
actually read more about things that I want to be knowledgeable about, obviously, so that I can actually have basis of
my brother
understanding.
is my brother is really good at not doing that. Like he researches like a lot of it is through like he's been able to tailor his Twitter like that so that the accounts that he hears for actual news like he knows are credible. Like for the protests and stuff, he follows accounts that live stream the actual protests, so he's not reading an article about it, he's seeing it.
so he doesn't
So
like listen
yeah,
to
so he
CNN.
knows what he's talking about.
Yeah, and that's
Yeah.
I've said it before. I want to say it again to like the maybe one person that sees or hears this. I hate the thing that the internet is doing in general, Twitter, Instagram, Reddit, freaking TikTok.
I think the worst thing
That
about it is the echo chambers being created, where people like do not know anything beyond what is self-regulated. So like liberals won't know
exactly.
anything, but like and conservatives
Exactly.
vice
No, that's
versa.
exactly what I'm talking about. That like anybody can have an opinion on that like they believe in, and it doesn't matter what it is. It will be encouraged on the internet.
Also
Uh,
call that just general r/blank circle jerk.
Yeah.
yeah, there's not just Reddit, but again like Instagram, Twitter, Facebook,
No,
and
places like r/Chapo Trap House, especially like with the whole like really far left subreddits on Reddit. I find
yeah,
them
but
to
like
be
this happens in every single case. You can see it on the internet. Frickin' there's things coming up about pedophilia, people like advocating for it to become a sexuality supported by the LGBTQ community,
yeah
when it's
maps.
not.
Yeah.
People are trying to do that, and that's just how horrific it's becoming. And that there's like groups that are actually trying to get that to
No,
happen.
that would I feel like that's almost comparable to saying like we should accept people, like we should accept serial killers as normal because they just have a mental illness, which they have a mental illness and that should be more understood. But that doesn't mean you can just go around and be a serial killer and we're just gonna accept that.
No,
Exactly.
with serial killers, it's way beyond just a mental
Yeah, no, because
illness.
it's a mental illness. Like it's almost an
Like
addiction
things
where
like
you
psychopathy
crave.
should not.
It's like you crave killing,
I
or
don't know.
you like.
With stuff like psychopathy, it shouldn't be taken like, oh, I'm a psychopath. Look how cool I am. That's another problem.
Yeah, no, because that's the same thing with
Yeah,
pedophilia. Like
that's another thing
it's
that's like a really,
harming
really,
someone
really
to feed a mental illness.
Yeah.
yeah. No, but it's another incredibly big problem right now with young people in general, like specifically where mental illness is not treated seriously in almost every case.
Yeah, because like we know.
Because there's a difference between like someone with a mental illness like making light of it or making a joke about it. Like people with legitimate depression who like have, like, let's say like they're diagnosed, they are going through treatment, and they'll like make a crack, like just like crack a joke offhandedly about it. That's great because then you're like turning something really dark into
That
something doable. But
but yeah,
if you like joke about like, oh, I might have depression, oh, I'm like, don't, just get help.
oh, I have depression because
Yeah.
because that creates a thing with like the people that you surround yourself with, where that they don't treat it seriously, and
Yeah,
ultimately it's the
and
people that
if
you
you're
surround
like,
yourself with
yeah,
that it's important for.
Yeah, because
Because
like
it's those
because
people that will
if you
that you
create the
will
precedent of
want
like,
help from.
oh, I was feeling like, but you make a joke about it, which if you don't know if it's real or not, and then like it becomes not serious,
like
and then if it's a joke, you're
Yeah,
not gonna
it's
like.
completely it
like both of
completely
my both of my sisters have had like severe depression. I know it's not something to joke about. Like of I can't tell you what they've done, but not something to be
Mhm.
joking about. Yeah.
Yeah, because like it's a difference. It's like it's like the same kind. Like just if you are in something, it's like when people who aren't straight like make the like jokes about how awful straight people are. Like
We call them
it's like if
straggots
you're
or whatever.
straight,
Yeah.
exact, yeah, exactly. Maybe not you exactly. Like, but if someone is in that field, it's just a way to like make fun of homophobia and create like take the pressure off having to live with a burden.
Yeah, I think
But
that the biggest problem
if you don't
with
have the burden and you try to like make light of
biggest
something you
problem right
don't have
now,
to deal with.
yeah, in the United States with people our age, like high schoolers, middle schoolers, is that they aren't getting like help for mental illness because
Mhm.
they don't treat it seriously, and the people that they surround themselves don't treat it seriously. They can't talk to anybody,
Yeah,
so
and
they
like
just
I
like
got
joke about it. And
like I was talking with someone
Yeah,
like I
because
can't tell
there's a
you who she
line
is, but
between being open about mental illness and like not dealing with
like
it.
she didn't want to tell anyone because she thought it was normal to have depression, and like that's not
yeah,
okay.
that's like the big problem. That's the big problem, and schools aren't dealing with it. Literally, it's really bad, and it's not acknowledged by almost anybody.
Yeah.
people that do actually get help get it usually like really late,
Mhm.
and it's after
Yeah.
they've faced like really really bad depression for a long time. But yeah, it just creates like an environment where they don't want to talk to other people, don't want to ask them about stuff.
Because
It sucks.
yeah, I might cut this part out. I'm not sure.
Let's talk about a slightly less controversial topic: abortion. Are fetuses people?
Someone had a post on their story today where it was like, so what it's whereas like conservatives think that abortion is where you literally murder the fetus. It's just detaching it from the mother because it can't survive without the mother, and that viruses aren't considered alive because they need a host to survive. And it's
Yeah.
a very similar situation with a fetus, which I thought was like, it's obviously not the exact same thing, but
You know what? I wonder. I feel like this topic could become so controversial in the future that it could create an almost dystopia. People fight over whether fetuses are children. You know? Somebody should write a book about that.
and make it just like awful YA
Awful YA.
and just
Absolutely.
shoving character development like really hard, like just like a
Oh, but like really, really badly.
yeah.
Yeah.
I can't that believe that book was awful.
Yeah.
What are we reading in English in 8th grade? I don't remember. Do we read
But I
Fahrenheit
know that
451?
I don't think. I think that's in high school, possibly.
That
But
might
I
be
know that
9th grade.
I know that we're reading Animal Farm and history.
Okay. That's George Orwell, right?
I don't think so, because George Orwell is 1984.
Yeah, he's 1984 and Fahrenheit 451. I want to look that up.
Ray Bradbury is Fahrenheit 450. I'm not sure. I really don't like being told what to read. I like that happens more and more.
Yeah. Like Miss would constantly like force me to read something I didn't really want to read. I don't know. I don't know. You guys don't like nonfiction, and that's obviously
I do. I like history. I like certain history books. And I like some astrophysics, but I generally like there's types of nonfiction that I don't like, but it's just that I don't read it as much.
like for nonfiction, I usually like read. There's a lot of I've managed to find a few science books that because
Yeah.
like the most nonfiction I read is just science, but it's
Mhm.
like usually if there's like something digestible, like there's this I think it was in 5th grade from the book fair I got this Neil deGrasse Tyson book where it was like just reading like a novel type digestibility where it was like very easy to read, but I
I
still
have
like
a Neil deGrasse Tyson book, Astrophysics for People in a Hurry.
I never got super into that. I should actually read it again.
yeah.
Me too.
My dad's like a ton of like really good history books, so it's kind of my only option. I don't know.
I'm reading a book. I'm reading the book by H.G. Wells, The Outline of History. Just kind of wanted to read something broad. I don't think it gets much broader than that.
Yep.
I have volume 1 and 2. It's like over 2,000
It's
pages,
like
but
if
I've read longer.
Bill Wirtz is what's that video called? I forgot it.
The history of the world, I guess.
Yeah, if that was like a large text written by H.G. Wells.
Yeah, it's really good so far. I haven't read a ton in a couple days, but I'm enjoying it. So it's
One
good.
of the I should because I have the actually I always kind of forget about this. So my I have an uncle who's I like I have an uncle who's a more conservative, I think, Trump voting type dude.
Is he
But
like blue collar or?
yeah, he's a farmer.
Okay.
But
Okay, yeah.
I don't get the thing with farmers voting for Trump personally. I mean,
yeah,
he hasn't done anything good for them.
yeah,
Nope.
no, they've lost so much money. But anyway, same dealio with how you grew up type shenanigans. But anyway,
Yeah.
he gave me one Christmas. I got like a couple books and then the Jackie Robinson documentary, or not documentary, autobiography. 41, I think is what it's called, which is like that's a heavy book. And I read it in like 5th grade, and it's like 250 pages, but it took me like a month just because it was like one of those books that was very good, but just
Mhm.
hard to get through.
Like hard to read or no, like
It
not
was
like
it was a little dense, but also just like real dark because the title is I Never Had It Made, because it's basically just talking about it, even though Jackie Robinson was like the figure of like the progressing of
Yeah.
like black people in the pop culture. He
Yeah.
he was literally in what was it? Like there was, I don't remember what it was, but it was, I think my sister saw a tweet. It was about like in when we talk about Jackie Robinson history, he's always described about how he was like special, and that's why he got into the MLB. Like
Mhm.
not just because like he got real lucky and he worked his ass off. It was just like he wasn't like all the other black people. He was special.
he was
And that's kind of
special.
like that was kind of the tone of the education, like especially like when we very first learned about it,
Huh.
which is which is just another little tidbit of why we need to switch our education system. But anyway, the book is just like very just talking
We
about how
actually have like a really laid out education system where we do actually acknowledge the issues. Like in social studies this year, we were talking about the Civil War a lot, and it was 100% like our
oh
teacher
no, it
said
wasn't.
this
No,
is
but like
about
you'll
the
find
No,
slaves.
no, no.
stuff.
Let me jump in quick. So we didn't touch on the
It
multitude
does
of
a lot of
Abraham
stuff.
Lincoln speeches where he's just like, oh yeah, where when he's talking about freeing the slaves, where he talks about how the black man is just unable to reach the same level of education and intellect as the white man, just because they're naturally inclined to be working creatures.
Well, yeah, Nate. If you don't know,
And
most people
I'm
were like that.
paraphrasing there, but he has like a bunch of quotes like that because
Yeah,
he was still real racist, but we
Well,
don't
yeah.
really
Well, I
talk
mean,
about that ever.
if you
we
don't
don't really
know,
talk about that ever because he was the most influential abolitionist in the history of the United States.
he may still have been
Uh,
racist, but you can't like underscore
I,
it.
I don't
Like
think.
Oh no,
Yeah,
but I feel like they
and it
can
was a
tell the
different
whole
time.
story.
It's a different standard at that time. I don't think
well,
that
I
you
don't
can
think they
really hold
like
that against
told
him. When
people.
like everybody was
No,
like
no,
that,
no, no.
he was
I'm not
basically
saying that like we should knock his accomplishments. Like still, it's the same thing about like that's how he grew up, which is why he believed that stuff.
Well,
But
yeah, Nate. Most
it's
people
I don't
believe
think
no,
in
no.
I don't
What
think
can
genetics.
I
that there's
finish?
like
Can I
a
finish? Can I finish?
yeah,
Can I
sure, sure,
finish?
sure.
So I just feel like it's not necessarily that like they're painting him like they should be painting him as evil. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is that they don't in a lot of cases like that. They just don't show the whole character of
I'm not sure the whole
who
character.
these
Well, I
people
mean,
are. Like when we learn about the founding fathers, we don't talk about how Jefferson raped all his slaves. We talk about how he wrote the Declaration of Independence and helped create an independent country. Like we don't show the whole character of these people. We paint
That
them as these
yeah. Well,
legends
Nate,
instead of just
I
like
get
normal
your
people with flaws.
Nate, I get your point on whitewashing, but like at least it's not as bad as the South, where they'll literally
the
like
South,
not
yeah, there's
cover
like a really,
entire
really,
events.
really stark
Oh yeah,
difference.
obviously, like there's a lot worse education than our largely more left-centered, not left-centered, but truth-centered.
Because there
Like
is
a
a
more truthful education that we've gotten, but like there's still problems with it.
I am gonna say something that is a little controversial now. But I really don't like it. Obviously, when like people say like the term liberal agenda, just like agenda in general with like leftist things. I don't like the term liberal
The
agenda.
liberal agenda. Or whatever.
Is that a
It's,
lot of schools do
Well, it's
actually
just
have
like a buzzword. It's like the whole like because
no. So conservatives will often try to paint liberals
no
as
wait
evil.
no Ben can I finish?
Yeah, sure.
So like the conservative media is very good at buzzwords, like
Yeah.
with climate change versus global warming.
Yeah. So
Like fake news, all of these like just they're thrown around so much because like they were engineered to be like that. They're engineered to just be able to like throw it out and gets an effect.
I think one of the
Even if
dumbest
you
like
don't fully understand what's behind it, like that, you can just like you just throw it out and you can get something.
yeah, I think one of the dumbest points with
And
these
it's like
buzzwords
especially with like the
was when Fox News and Dick Cheney put the mansion tax, which is a tax on ultra rich mansions, and they changed it into the death tax somehow. And like,
oh,
Nate, I'm not kidding.
so
That's
they
literally
changed the
what they
name
did.
of the bill to the death tax.
No, Fox News and Dick Cheney described it as the death tax. Or
Oh,
some, yeah.
I mean,
Then they
yeah, you're not
repealed.
gonna get voting for people who are trying to pass a bill that's called the death tax.
Yeah. No. Wait. But can I finish what I was saying?
Hmm.
So the term liberal agenda is thrown around a lot, and like in almost every single case, it's untrue. But the only case that I found that it is actually a little bit true is with a lot of schools, is that they do push for a lot of beliefs.
There's
And
a difference between
I agree with
liberal agenda and just truth.
yeah, no, and
Yeah.
I don't agree with the buzzword in general. Like, I don't think it's definitely not an agenda, but it is really pushed upon the students, like a lot of beliefs. And I
Well,
agree with the
there was a poll by that said that 62% of Americans have political beliefs they're afraid to share, and I don't think we should just blot them out.
well,
Like,
no. I don't necessarily think that schools are peddling a liberal agenda because. So
I
what?
mean,
No.
I don't
Can I
think that it's a
finish?
liberal agenda. Yeah, no, it's
I
fine.
don't think
Yeah,
it's the part of
So
the liberal
wait,
agenda,
let
but
me
still.
gather my thoughts for a second.
let me
So
talk. Yeah,
it's like uh, what is it? Like when when things are politicized, like politicizing just like facts, and then that's when you run into problems. Like that's when you run into the whole mask fiasco. Is when you politicize facts and you say like, oh, schools are showing more like detail about the civil rights movement.
yeah.
And when that's described as being a liberal agenda instead of just being, oh, they're telling the truth now. They didn't do that before.
Yeah, so basically, with Nate, there's a certain part of blotting out history so you can make people think blindly of their country. It's kind of what China does in classrooms, where it blots out history of like Tiananmen
Mm-hmm.
and
Yeah.
like Uyghur
Tiananmen,
massacres.
Wait,
Yeah.
I just remembered what I was gonna say. Can I quick add it?
Yeah.
So, what I was gonna. Oh wait, I can't remember. Please, come on, brain. God, what was I gonna say? Oh, what is it? What is it? Oh yeah. So, like when I'm talking about like how comparing like liberal agenda to truth, I want to make it clear that I'm not saying that everything in the quote unquote liberal agenda is truth, because the left and especially like large giants in the left media have huge issues, like not compared
Yeah.
to Fox News, but CNN still
Is it?
It's
Yeah,
still
CNN.
really.
no, it's there's a bunch of stuff where they just like there was a ton of stories that they ran like directly untrue things about Bernie. It's like the whole thing with Elizabeth with them claiming that what was it? That like Bernie was like mega sexist towards Elizabeth Warren, and there was like no facts behind it, or they push for a candidate in the news.
Not only that, but CNN is completely like it's biased almost as
Yeah.
much as Fox News is,
Yeah.
and
I think
MSNBC as well.
I found another
And
effect like
they're
people-
both super left or right, and CNN really like they push a lot of stories with Trump that like bloat a bunch of things up a ton, or they lie about a lot of things. Like, I'm not saying as much as Fox News because they've said incredibly stupid things.
Fox News has like
Yeah.
entire channels devoted to like spewing nationalist nonsense, like with Tucker
Yeah.
Carlson.
Like there's definitely like a
Bro, it's the
like a
worst.
like a spectrum, but it's very that's why I love NPR so much, because NPR manages to like
They
like
actually
there's
get
a
a
lot
ton
of times
Yeah.
like they have a bunch of correspondents that are just like, when I hear them, I'm like, oh God, that person is so wrong. But they have them on,
Yeah,
and they
like
manage to like do their best to just show, not they just tell you what happened and not tell you what to think about what happened.
Yeah.
And they don't
So-
have like, it's not like people going into this, people again just like bouncing their own beliefs off each other in that like panel they have on CNN about like after the debates, when they would just like, a bunch of liberals would just like bounce their beliefs off each other.
Yeah.
They just like, they don't have those huge discussion segments like they have podcasts, part of NPR, but like when you're listening to the news, they give you the news. Like they're
Yeah.
definitely
yeah.
like leaning left, obviously, but they give you the news and then they just let you take it and then you can leave.
I think the New York Times is probably the best newspaper personally. I don't find it to be that
Newspaper
bad.
wise, like they're definitely like, they're not on the level of CNN, but they've done like some of like
Well, yeah,
the
they're
for trying to force a candidate through the news, but they're definitely
I
by
disagree. I think
large newspapers, by large newspaper publications go, they're probably the most bipartisan
I
type.
think well, I think that they're compare like the big ones. I think that the Atlantic is the most genuine because they put out like really good content that's like
Yeah.
worth reading.
That's fair.
And I like they are like fairly leftist, but they're still. It's impossible to have a completely unbiased media,
Yeah.
news media, and they actually get like a bunch of things to like question how things work
Yeah.
and question both sides. And I think that they have like really good articles that are well written. They have pretty bad ones too, but generally they put out good
Mhm.
content.
Yeah. I just wish there was like, because you obviously like, I don't want there to be laws on the press, but when you get that like level of just like, especially like just with CNN and the New York Times, when they ran those stories talking about like how Bernie, like it was off of a, like, I think it was a member of, if I remember right, don't quote me on this, but I think it was a member of Warren's cabinet that like told the story, and that wasn't even like a close member of Warren's cabinet. It was just like someone who didn't want Bernie, and they had this type op-ed type dealio where they told the press, and then they just took it and ran with it without. And then like they had, eventually after that they were like, oh, this wasn't actually true, but they didn't. They just they didn't. It's like fast fashion where they, like, it's not like these pieces aren't quality. They just take something that they align with and then they run with it.
Yeah.
I hate that.
Now I want to stop here and thank anybody who actually listened to this.
Yeah, well, I mean, this
Really doubt
was
that anybody
much.
did.
I think this is gonna be. This actually could be slightly entertaining. I don't know if it's entertaining enough for someone to listen to us monologue here. But I think this has been a pretty good podcast.
I think so, but like I mean, of tunnel vision.
Okay. Yeah.
Stolen's
God
Wait,
damn
what
it.
happened there?
I think it muted out for like 15 minutes. For some reason.
No, we weren't. No. Like I heard you like a couple minutes ago.
Okay.
Oh no, Ben, you weren't muted out. You might have been for like a very short amount of time, but no.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank God. Yeah. We are nearing the end of our podcast. I think Josh has already thanked. I want to thank anybody who listens to our podcast. I know it's unprofessional, and obviously we're probably not the most interesting, but we're grassroots. We're middle school
We're dude
kids.
bros who are doing our thing.
Yeah, we're people of slightly varying political opinions.
Ultimately, I think that this should be the Boredom Boys should be about spreading conversation, allowing conversation to happen.
And this doesn't have to be limited to politics. It can also be with entertainment.
It can also be with
and
other things.
It can be with anything, okay?
But ultimately, I think that once we start getting people involved, other people besides us three.
Yeah,
so
but our kind of vibe is just keeping an open mind.
Just chatting.
And just talking about things and being cool about it.
I think.
Yeah, but when we talk to other people, I think that then we should spread the general awareness of being able to have a conversation
without it being I'm right, no, you're wrong, but I'm right, but no, bad. Yes, no,
and I think we should eventually invite like other varying opinions, like not just like anybody.
Yeah, I absolutely agree. I think that we should invite other political opinions that disagree with us, so we can have an actual conversation without just fleeting to our side of the internet. Because there's always the part
we shouldn't really. On this podcast, we'll be devoted to not whitewashing or blotting out or censoring anything that we don't like. I know obviously the right wing, the Republican Party is getting really beat on, but they might still have good ideas, maybe.
They still have good ideas.
Because I don't want every single episode of this podcast to be just the same discussion about like, oh, we have these slight differing opinions, but we're just gonna come to a consensus. Because if we have everyone in our little circle, that's what is gonna happen every single time.
Yeah, the one thing that I really, really hate right now is how criminalizing everybody is and demonizing everybody is to the opposite side, whether that be your left or right. For the left people, all rightists are immediate horrible people, and that's not true. And to rightists, all leftists are horrible people. That's not true either. Neither party is completely stupid. Neither party is completely horrible. If we listen to each other, maybe we can agree on something.
Yeah, Oh wait, can I just add one little political tidbit that I was gonna add earlier, but I forgot. Ranked choice voting. Do you guys know this concept?
No.
So this is something that when you hear it, my sister told it to me like a couple days ago.
Okay, Nate.
So much freaking sense, but you're like,
Nate.
Let Nate talk.
Oh no, that would never go. Ben, shut up. Ben, please let me finish. Anyway, that would never go into law because it's too fair. It's like the Electoral College. It's never going to get abolished because then the elections would be fair. So anyway, ranked choice voting is when you say, like, let's say there's a third party candidate that you like more than like just for presidential election, like the full primary. Let's say you find a third party candidate you like. I'm just going to use Kanye for an example. Not that you should ever vote for Kanye because then you're taking away votes from Biden.
Please don't vote for Kanye.
But anyway, so like let's say just for example you want Kanye, but if he doesn't become a viable candidate in the race, you can say my second choice is Biden. So then it basically takes away the need for an extremely divisive two-party system because it doesn't completely abolish that. Like, you're still gonna have most likely two prominent parties, but it's gonna make people so much more willing to go into a third party candidate that though they don't know if they're gonna actually win, they'll give a chance, and then it allows so many more voices to be heard. But anyway, yeah, Ben, what were you gonna say?
I don't know. So I hadn't heard ranked choice voting before, but one thing I really hated is like hearing a new opinion or like hearing a new like policy and then immediately thinking it was great. No, I understand ranked choice voting is a pretty good system, but like when people are young, especially, they'll like take an idea called, I don't know, a certain political ideology is like the best in the world. The point I'm trying to get across is to really.
Well, yeah,
sort
I'm
of
guessing
research
even
it.
if it got implemented, there would probably be problems with it. It just seems it makes so much sense, you know?
And
I'd be like,
Nate, one really serious problem with ranked choice voting is that imagine if the right wing of the Republican Party, all of their members, put their second choice for the Nazi Party.
well, that's an extreme scenario, but
Yeah.
It's not.
Imagine if
actually
the left wing of the Democratic Party put their second choice for the Communist Party. How do you think,
no, you're not voting for a party, you're voting for a candidate.
Still,
That's
I mean,
the
third-party
point
candidate
of
for-
ranked choice voting. It's taking away the need for huge party loyalty and turning it more to a candidate.
I see where you're getting at, but if
I
someone
would-
put their
Like,
first
oh
choice
yeah,
as
I understand that there can be definitely problems where you could get more extreme, but
imagine like
we
someone,
already literally have a fascist in the seat of the president because he's just sending
Almost.
troops everywhere that he wants without.
I don't think that he's quite a
following-
fascist.
No, he's a despot and authoritarian, but he's not
He's very,
Pinochet.
very close.
That he's a fascist quite yet.
He's rightist, but that's not close.
No,
close enough.
you got to agree. Sending troops.
He's
like,
putting out a lot of signs.
No,
I absolutely
Nate,
blocking,
that's the actual
blocking
authoritarian.
the release of
Yeah,
facts about coronavirus through the White House and sending just troops to cities and having them basically just kidnap people whenever he doesn't agree with them is getting a little on that side.
It's getting to the authoritarian side, but he won't go full fascist. I hope.
I don't think that he can.
Well, yeah, no, I don't expect him to turn into a dictator. I don't think he's smart enough for that.
Coup
But
d'etat, whatever, something like that would happen before.
anyway, that was a little tangent, but I
Little
think
tangent?
are we all ready?
Anyways, yeah, we're all ready. I'm gonna
Wrap
leave
this one
on
up.
one note. Bye.